Today, I'm super excited because we're going to be reviewing some code, and the person that sent this code actually said that they failed their technical interview because of this project. So honestly, I'm very curious, and you and I together, we're going to look at the code, review it, and see if the decision was justified, and hopefully learn a thing or two and become better React developers. And by the way, speaking of becoming a better React developer, you should totally check out my free newsletter, Import React, that is going to help you do exactly that. You're going to be able to stay up to date with everything that is going on in React and also get cool tips and tricks that you really won't find anywhere else. It's completely free. You get it delivered to your inbox every single week, and I'll leave a link in the description if you're interested. Now, let's look at this code. All right, cool. So this is the repository that we're going to be looking at. Please don't go and putting any hate. We're all trying to be supportive and we're all trying to learn and become better developers, including the person that sent this, right? So we're going to critique this as constructive criticism and try to make things a little bit better for everyone involved. I have the project running here in my VSCode, and what I usually like to do when I'm working on a project, I haven't seen this project before, so we're going to review it together, is I like to find the entry point of the application and kind of work our way up from there. So I see that we have a main.tsx file, which I assume is kind of the entry point. This looks to be a Vite application. Yeah, we have the Vite config here, which maybe you don't see because of my head, but trust me, it's there. And then we're going to go and open up the app component, right? Because this is kind of the main component. And let's look at what we have here. So the app component looks to be pretty simple, right? All that we're doing is we have a header here that says order book, and then we have this order book component. So let's just directly open the order book component and let's see what we have. So first of all, what I like in my first initial impression, and I usually look at this whenever I'm reviewing code, is I look at the size of a component. So this component over here is like 19 lines of code from line 8 to line 27. That is really, really small. And I like to see that. Small components are easily to manage, easy to understand, and easily scalable. And you can immediately see some really cool things about here. For example, we see here at the top, we have SRC and then features. This is using a feature-based structure, right? Which is really cool to see. And it doesn't mean that it's the best structure for every project, but what this tells me is that this user, this developer, knows about the feature-based folder structure and at least knows about when to use it versus when to use something else like just a normal root level structure. And this tells me that they probably have worked in projects where they use feature-based folders, or at least they've heard about it somewhere, and they decided to adopt this for their own application, which is generally a good sign. So far so good. And then this component here is really simple to understand. Like we have here this use order book custom hook, which I can only assume is related to the order book because it's named the same thing. So that makes it super easy to understand. It is going to return to us some functions and some properties here, which we're going to use here in the component. We have here some use reducers, some use selectors, sorry, although I'm not sure what this use t selector is. We're going to look at that in just a moment, but I assume this is taking the data from the Redux store, which is cool. And then we're passing everything to two components. And again, everything is abstracted away in different components. This is really cool to see. So let's look at this use order book custom hook and let's see what we're working with. So we have export const use order book. Then we have here const precision set precision, and this is a use state of a string, and then it's p0. Okay. Here's my first problem with this. So we have here a string, right? Use state is typed as a string, and then it's p0, which is a string. This is fine. But there's nothing telling me here what exactly other values can be part of the state. Can we have p1? Can we have p2? Can we have 0, right? There's nothing telling us what values we can have. And because of the way that we type this, we have no type safety on the actual individual values. What I would have done here is I would have done something like this, type and then precision. And that would be something like P0, and then, I don't know, we're going to put here P1 and any other potential letters, and then we will put your precision like this, right? Now, it's still typed as a string, but now it's actually explicit what types of strings we can have, which for somebody that's never seen this code before and that wants to work in, we can immediately see what the values of P can have, right? It's a small nitpick, but I feel that it's very important in a project, especially as you scale. Then we have here you dispatch, so we're dispatching actions to Redux, that's fine. Then we have this ifs WebSocket open use t selector. I'm very curious what this use t selector is. Let's look at it. Use t selector is a typed use selector hook root state use selector. So they created a custom hook, right, to have the types of the actual state. What I would usually do, and I think their way is actually better, but I still want to mention it. What I would do here is I would just do use selector and then import directly from React Redux, and then just manually type it as root state, import this from app.store, I would assume, and then I would just have my hook there. But actually, to their point, doing this over and over again across different applications can get repetitive. And then if you just create a custom hook and you just export it, then you don't have to do this and it's automatically always going to be typed. So this is good and I like it. I'm just confused because here we have UST dispatch. So we did the same thing with the dispatch, but I don't think you need to do that in Redux if I'm not mistaken. And here we use dispatch without it. So I don't think that you need to do that. And if I look here, UST dispatch, where is it used? It's only used here. So this is dead code. This is code that is never going to be used. I would just kill this because again, it doesn't really break anything. And it's always better to not have code that you're not using. What I think happened is initially because they created UST selector, they said, oh, let me do the same for use dispatch. Then they realized it's not needed. And then they just did not use it and forgot to remove it. It's a small thing, but again, remove that code if you're not using it. Then we have use effect, but actually I see that we have an error here. Okay, so that's probably why we did the precision here, because we wanted it to be a string. What I would maybe do is I would do here as precision like this, and we would actually have no more type errors. It's safe to typecast things if you can confirm that the event.target.value is always going to be that precision value, right? Ideally, maybe you have something like a const precision, and that can then be an array of actually, we're going to do P0 and then P1, and you do as const, and then we get this type here. We can do type precision, type of precision, and then we're going to do here number, and then number here, right? This is one way of doing it, where we take the type of the precision, and this is going to be a const, and then we just index it by number. So it's going to be one of these values. And then if we hover over this, we still have the same P0, P1. But then what we can do is we can now use this precision in our actual HTML or wherever we're rendering, like here, so that we can only ever pass values that come from this constant. That way we can always guarantee that we have the correct values and we also have the correct type. So we fix that. Then here, use effect, we're going to initialize a WebSocket. That's fine. Then we're going to close the WebSocket. Let's look at what initialize WebSocket does. So this is a different file, and this looks to be WebSocket reconnect interval. So it's setting up a WebSocket connection. That's fine. Then we have a connect WebSocket function. We're connecting it to dispatch. Again, see here precision, right? We would just put this as the new type that we got. We're using a WebSocket, we're opening it, and then we're dispatching set is WebSocket open. That's fine. Then we have a message, we're sending the message, and then we're clearing the interval. That all looks legit. I'm not going to go too deep as to like WebSocket connections and whatnot. Then on message, we have a callback, handle WebSocket message, dispatch message. That's fine. We need to pass the dispatch to connect it to Redux. You can always have access to it, so we can do that. It's totally fine. On close, we close it. On error, we do an error. And then initialize WebSocket just initializes and connects. That's fine. This closes. And what is this handle WebSocket message? It's here at the top. Handle WebSocket message, dispatch, message, message event, data equals json.parse message.data. And then we're dispatching handle order book data. Let's look at this. Ooh, what is this? Okay. Let's come back to this because I feel that we just like went on a huge tangent. Let's keep this open. This is the Redux state, so let's keep this open. Let's come back to it. Let's go back to the use order hook and just finish this hook, so then we can then move on and everything is gonna be fine. So use effect initializes the WebSocket, then closes it, passes dispatch. That's fine. Handle precision change. We just fixed that, so we are good developers. There we go. Toggle WebSocket. We'll just initialize it if it's not open, and then we'll close it, and then we're returning all of these to be used in the component. Great, cool. So let's see. So bids coming here from state.orderbooks.bids. We're going to look at that in just a moment. Let's first look at these components because I'm very curious to see. So we have controls over here. So controls interface is going to get the type here. See, we're using precision a lot, man. Like this is confusing. And if you ever change precision to something else, let's say you change it to a number or an object, you're going to have to go to every single place and change it. Instead, just use the precision. I don't think I'm exporting here, but you get the idea. Just use the precision and then you can just not have this problem. You just change the actual precision type and it's going to be changed everywhere and it's fine. Then toggle WebSocket, handle precision change, we're passing the event, that's fine. And then here, okay. See, these are the values of precision, right? So what I would do is I would, let's honestly do it. Let's come here, let's do export and then export, right? So now we have precision. I'm going to do here precisions and make this plural just to make it a little bit more clear. Then here, we're going to do precision. There we go. Now we have it. Ideally, you would put this in like a types file or something, but again, totally fine. And then you would just do this. You would do precisions, import this here, .map, and then precision. And then for every precision, you would just return, and then you would return what? This, right? You would return option, and then precision, and then precision, right? And here we would just put key, and that would be precision, like this, and we would kill all of these things. And now we're always guaranteed that all of our options can only ever be what we set here as precisions, and our type is guaranteed to be exactly that. And so it is completely safe for us to alias this here as a precision, because we know that this is going to have the correct types every single time, right? Small improvement, but again, it is an improvement nonetheless. So we have order book view. Let's go back here. We have order table. We're passing bids and asks. Let's see. So over here, bids and asks. I have a feeling we're doing the same thing here with price, amount, count, right? This should be a type. So let's see what's the status with that. Then we're passing them here. Also, yeah, they have the same type. So we're passing them here. Then we have a table, and then we're mapping over each bids, and we have the table headers here. So that's fine. And we're doing the exact same thing with the asks. Okay, that's fine. Usually I would say that we should put this in like a reusable component, create like a table component and just put everything together. But I think that if you only ever gonna have like two things like asks and bids, maybe it's not necessarily worth it to do that. So in this case, it's fine. Although, you know, we're like repeating the same code here. So, you know, I would let this slide if it looks like this is a simple application. So I would let this slide. But if this becomes a bigger application, if we have more tables with more data, I would definitely put this in a reusable component. Okay, so that's order table done. So that's this done. So I think what's left for us to do is to look at the Redux. So let's go here to order book slice, because this looks like it has some code and I'm not sure about the code. So let's see. So create slice payload action. We have order, we have book entry. Okay, so price, count, amount. Let's go back to the table. Count, amount, total, price. So the only thing that is different is the total. Okay. Why did we not use, price, amount, count? Why did we not use order or book entry? Which one is which? So this is unclear to me, right? You have order, you have book entry. They have the same properties. Or are they different? Is one an ask, is one a bid, right? It's not 100% clear. So first of all, use the types. Second of all, make it a little bit more clear as to what the types actually are. But yeah, we're going to have to go with that. I'm not going to make a change or anything. We're just going to kind of go with it. So order book state. Bids and asks are orders. So what is book entry? Bids and asks are book entry. That's confusing. Okay. Let's take it one step at a time. Initial state, bids, asks is WebSocket open. Order book slice, name, initial state, reducers, set order book. This is going to take a payload action, which will have bids and asks. They're both order. Okay. We get the bids and asks. We set them in the state. That's fine. Update bid, state action, payload action, order. Price, count, amount, action, payload. Index, state.base.find index, bid. This is a bug. Bid.price equals price. And then what? We're updating based on the index. This is a bug. What if you have two bids that have the same price? You're going to update the wrong one, or you cannot deterministically update the wrong one. This is a bug. This is the first thing that I've seen in this code base that really is like a big red flag. You should not do this. You should, at the very least, not at the very least, you should do this ID number and then just use here the ID and go by ID, right? And then here we need the ID, so we're going to put ID here. Go by ID, right? And then you put your ID, right? Is it because, no, update bid, you should have an ID. There's no way you don't have an ID. So use the ID. That's a very big bug. Delete bid, price as well. Yeah, no, that's a bug. ID, right? ID. Update ask, so we have the same issue. Okay, so ID, right? And then here, ID, and then we're going to put the ID here. That way, right, you're safe that you're actually deleting the thing that is the correct ID. Delete ask. Oh man, this is ID. This I would like red flag this. This will not pass code review because you should not do this, right? This is an amateur mistake, unfortunately. Okay, everything else looks okay. We're sorting here by the price, so that's fine, right? You can sort by the price, but don't update based on the price. Then we have set is WebSocket open. It just sets it. That's fine. And then we have this handle order book data here, which red flag, minor red flag, but red flag nonetheless. Any, what is this data, right? Where are we using it? Let's look for it. We're using it here. Handle WebSocket message. So this is coming from our server. We're getting the JSON parse. I see what's going on. When you use JSON.parse, you cannot infer the types. So you don't know the type. So this is going to be any. And so if you want to pass it to a function, either you alias this as something, or you just leave it and you put any here. So I'm a big kind of proponent of not having any in any of your React projects, pun not intended. Any is a very dangerous thing in TypeScript because you do this and it just kills all of your types. And if I look at this code, like this is messy because, okay, we have dispatch and then array.isArray data1. Whoa, what happened? Data1, then data10. What is this? Like, I have no idea sorry, I'm hitting things on my keyboard. I have no idea what data1 is, what data10 is. Like, what is data? It's typed as any. We have no idea. So then I think even that's the reason why we had to make these checks in the first place, because we don't know what data is. We have to make a check. Is it an array? Is this part an array? And then we're doing things like book entries, data1, array.isArray, and then we're creating these arrays here and we're typing them as a book entry, and then we're adding them here like an entry, number. That's not okay. I feel that if we had just, where is it again? Let's find it. I forgot where it was. It was in the WebSockets. Yeah, in the API. I feel that if we just type this as order or something, right? I don't know why it's not importing. That's besides the point. If you just type this as something, because let's say this is our own backend, so we can control what we're sending, so we know that we're sending the correct thing, or even use Zod. So like create a schema that has your order and then pass this response to the schema and let the schema validate it and then give you the type, right? That is the solution for this. And then you have the actual type here, right? So then when you pass it to handle order book data, you can then have the correct type here, and I can guarantee you won't have to do array.isArray or all of these things here, right? And like number. I feel that this is like book entry, right? And here we don't have an ID, so we're missing the ID. So like get an ID somehow, somewhere, right? I feel that this would have been a lot better just without. So this is something I would push on again in the code review and actually say, no, there's a better way to do things. And then we have else if data1 HB heartbeat, okay, typed again, please. Array.isArray data1, again, I think that the same exact thing, price count amount. This would have been typed super easily. And then here we have this error because we need an ID. So just add an ID here, type properly, and I feel this function would have been a lot simpler. And I think that is it. If we look here, we have app, we have hooks. Yeah, we looked at this one. We looked at the API, I believe, or RPC. Okay, we're using some Axio stuff. We're just console logging. That's nothing interesting there. We have features. We have no other features. We have app. Yeah, that looks to be pretty much it, which is good because this video kind of got a bit long already, but I feel that this was valuable and I feel that we actually learned a lot. And developer, if you're watching this, I hope that you also learned a lot from this, because I only meant this with the best intentions, and I only meant this with like you learning and becoming a better developer. And now comes the time where we make a decision. Was the interviewer correct in dropping this person for a technical interview, or were they wrong? So unfortunately, we don't know for what position they were interviewing, for what level they were interviewing. I would ask you to leave a comment down below before I say, so just pause the video, leave a comment down below. I would love to hear your thoughts on what you think. Would you hire this person or wouldn't you? As for me, well, first, I want to say that this is not completely bad, right? This is not all bad. There's a lot of good things here, right? I really like the feature-based architecture. I really like small components. This person understood the power of creating custom hooks, separating that logic from the actual UI components, then also understood actually putting different components for different things, right? For small things, right? They understood that, which is good. It tells me that they have some experience with React, And it also tells me that they are willing to learn about React, because you need to learn about these things and then you need to adopt them as part of the way that you code your React applications. And these are very good qualities as a developer that you should have, even if you don't write the best code, even if you maybe make a mistake like this, like you just don't use the precisions here and then you just hard code them like that. Even if you do that, I feel that if I were to tell this developer, hey, there's a better way to do this and here's why it's better, I feel that they would learn from that mistake and actually start implementing it this way in the future, which is something that you want. Because if you have a developer like that, it doesn't matter really where they are in their journey. If you're willing to invest your time and a little bit of energy into them, they are going to grow into phenomenal developers that will not make these mistakes forever. So it's very important. And then really the only mistakes that we have here was some dead code that we have here that we removed, some types that we didn't put here correctly, right? And then yes, we did have the red flag of using the price to update data. That is a really red flag. And I would kind of think twice about, I would think about the position I'm trying to hire this developer for, first and foremost, and then I would make a decision. And ideally, what I would do is I would get this person on an actual interview where I can speak with them, so I can go over their code and ask them, like, what happened? Where is the ID? Why did we not put an ID? Why did we type the function here as any, right? I'm pretty sure I know why, but I want to know what they were thinking. And then I would make the decision, because again, if they look like they can understand the errors quickly and then say, oh, right, you're right, I should have done that, and then fix it and not make the same mistake again, then I would hire them for a position. Maybe not for a senior position, but I would hire them for somewhere in between a junior and an intermediate developer, I would say. But again, I have to talk to them and that's not going to happen. So I guess we'll never know. But I'm very curious what you think about this. So if you haven't left a comment, leave a comment now that you know my opinion. And let's talk about it, because hopefully this is going to help us become better developers and increase our chances of getting React jobs. If you enjoyed this video and you want to see more videos just like this one, make sure to leave this video a big thumbs up. You can also click here to subscribe, or you can click here to watch a different video of mine that YouTube seems to think that you're really going to enjoy. And with that being said, my name has been Darius Kozin. This is Kozin Solutions. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Ciao, ciao.